Welcome to the review of the JVC LS300. Now the interesting thing about this camera is it's 4K, but today we're using it at 1080 50p simply because we're doing it in a sports event, and to be quite honest with you, 25p in a sports event is absolutely mince.
What do you do here, Heather?
I'm the assistant start wash with my dad.
What does that role involve?
15 heats in the meeting, my dad and I both take alternate heats, and each of the heats I also do the flag marshal as well.
Should I look at him or on the camera?
Me.
No, you look at him.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Then let's go turn that sound down a bit. Okay, running.
Nicky, congratulations, first ever Peugeot Open winner. How does it feel?
Feels alright. First open meeting here in England, I think. So it's always nice with a win. Yeah, definitely.
One of the plus points of the JVC LS300 is its compactness. Now that's a super 35mm sensor in there, and I've got a micro four thirds lens, which is the 12 to 35 Panasonic lens. Then I've got a Rode gun mic going into input 1, and input 1 is being recorded onto channel 1, channel 2. During BVE 2015, I visited the JVC stand to have a word with JVC's General Manager, John Kelly. I started by asking him what's new on the JVC stand this year.
We are very lucky to be releasing 4 cameras or camera products over the next couple of months. So starting with the model we have here, which is a model called the JVC LS300, which is our first large sensor camera using a Super 35 native 4K sensor. So it's our first foray into large sensor technology, 4K also. We're very excited about it.
Now tell me, John, what lenses can we use with these cameras?
Okay, so as I mentioned, the sensor is a Super 35 sensor, it's a full Super 35 native 4K. The interesting and very useful part of it is it uses an MFT mount in the front of that sensor. The advantage of using an MFT mount in that regard is it's very flexible in terms of what you can connect to it with adapters. So whether that's a native MFT lens, of course, but also, as we're doing here, for example, an adapter, a simple adapter to an EF lens. Of course, there's adapters for Nikon, PLs, and Super 16s. So it's really flexible in terms of what you want to mount onto the front of the camera.
Now we're into 4K. What kind of cards are we using in these cameras?
The recording media, yeah. So again, like all of our cameras, we are using, if you can see, we're using standard SDXC memory cards, or UHS cards, as they're now classified. So we have 2 card slots, and the recording format in 4K mode is up to 150 megabits per second. In HD mode, we're doing 50 megabit 422.
The other thing is I always remember from yourselves is you can put your stuff straight onto Final Cut Pro. It ends up with a .mov. Is it the same with this?
Yeah, again, that's exactly the same. So, you know, we have native QuickTime files. So again, it's drag and drop into the bin in Final Cut. That's the case whether in this case you're operating in 4K mode or in HD. So the ingest, again, whether you're in Final Cut or other platforms, is absolutely seamless.
Variable scan mapping, native field for any lens. VSM lets you choose the lens you want since it enables the camera to maintain the native angle of view for a large variety of lenses, including Super 35mm like full frame Canon and Nikon lenses, Micro Four Third lenses and Super 16 lenses. In basic terms, the VSM allows you to reframe the sensor, thus avoiding vignetting. Let me show you. As you can see, there's a lot of vignetting going on here, simply because the Micro Four Third lens is not teed up with the actual sensor itself, so it's easy. Basically, you go into menu, go down to system, and then into record set, and then down to VSM. Now, at the moment, it won't do anything because I'm recording, so I'll need to stop the camera to change this. We've come down to the Ayrshire coast, a place called Dunure, to get hopefully a nice sunset, and once we've done this we'll go on to do some low light filming. The JVC LS300 has good low light capabilities, with the camera easily performing up to 15 dBs with little to no grain. Once again, this is the major plus of having a Super 35mm sensor. It's only when you view the LS300's footage on the timeline can you appreciate the fantastic low light capabilities of this large sensor camera. To get the least noise from the camera, it's a good policy to stick to full frame lenses like the Canon or Nikon, as they cover the Super 35mm native 4K sensor with no vignetting. JVC are a little late entering the large sensor market, but have as usual listened to their customers and come up with a great all-rounder. The compactness of the LS300 in a true handheld mode is very appealing. Having low-cost XDXC cards allows you to store your footage on the card for archive purposes. 1080 50p Full HD footage is stunning, as is 4K 25p. Here is a shot of a sea lion shot on 4K, constrained to fit on the FCPX timeline. Now see how it performs when you choose no constraint. This gives you great flexibility. Quality is maximised at 4K running at 150 megabits a second and HD at 50 megabits a second. Low light footage is also noiseless up to 15 dBs, once again using the full Super 35mm sensor. VSM gives you far more flexibility than any other large sensor camera on the market, allowing you to tune your lens to the camera's sensor. There is room for improvement. I would like to see a larger viewfinder, as the large LCD is not so usable in sunny conditions. I did find some of the lens removals a footer with the locking pin, but I am assured that this has been addressed in the production model. Having the ND filter and aperture knob almost side by side led to some confusion in the heat of the moment, but that's something you will get used to over time. Lastly, the inclusion of a zoom rocker switch is great, but let down by the lack of decent zoom lenses from third-party lens manufacturers. Overall, JVC have produced a cracking large sensor camera that, as usual, performed a treat right out of the box, and I would have no hesitation recommending it to fellow professionals.
In 2018, the JVC LS300 was used as the main camera on a film on the Isle of Arran called Uncowed. Richard was the director of photography and found the camcorder a delight to use.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
The JVC LS300 was used with a micro 4/3 adapter to Nikon with a Nikon 24 to 85mm f 2.8 lens.
Maybe never to be seen again if we fall down the sinkhole.
Is it a sinkhole?
Apparently so. It's a mystical connection to another dynasty. It's probably this is the Arran version of Outlander. Turning. Scene 27, opening shots, take 3.
I'm really sorry, Sheila, but you know how important these stones are to me. They're part of the culture of the island. It's in my
Thanks. I've been wanting to do that for ages.